Happy weekend to all you entrepreneurs. Do you want a no BS strategic guidance that takes your e-commerce business to the next level? Ben is here to help. He is the founder of Paramount Pet Health and also a dual podcast host of the Dropship podcast and the BK Show. We are going to touch on a lot today, including learning the ingredients for his own success as an e-com entrepreneur. Learn why high-ticket dropshipping is still the easiest way to get started in e-commerce. Learn if it's possible to start with less than $500 and how. The rules of always staying cash flow positive. What is demand capture? What is demand generation? And so much more. Ben and his team, I learned, have scaled from 1 million in revenue to 11 plus in just 2 years. And he has also helped another dropshipping company hit 250K in their first 3 months in sales. So he may do the same for you today. Buckle up. Since we have this dropshipping expert on the show, I think I have to feature the spotlight story at the halfway point of the show on the subject with an article titled 6 Tips for How to Become a Successful Dropshipper. Ben, let's get this show started. Why did you become an entrepreneur?
Yeah, man, I think it goes back to childhood, really. I was told, I'm sure somebody listening to this can relate. I was told I wasn't normal. I didn't fit in the box. I didn't act a certain way, but I didn't really know what that meant either. My dad worked at a warehouse, essentially, a machining place, and my mom was a CNA. And so when I fast forward to my 20s, I was working at a Walmart distribution center, and my wife was a CNA. So I don't think I really understood what I was supposed to be. It led to a lot of rebellion, a lot of drinking and partying and women and just, acting like an idiot, if I'm honest. I'm sure we all did that in our 20s, early 20s. But somewhere in there, I knew there had to be something more. Actually, the first thing I ever started was a clothing line, which I wouldn't recommend anyone ever do, ever. But I was a huge fan of UFC. My buddy's mom would rent them for us in high school and buy us beer, and then we'd go over there and watch them. And I remember hearing Joe Rogan say, "Oh, he got hit right on the button," and I was like, "Why is there not on the button fight gear?" So I started it, and I went to all my friends. Every single one of them. Yeah, dude, I'll buy 2 shirts, man. Of course I will. So we go get 400 shirts printed, and we sell like 14 of them. Nobody actually
Oh, of course.
this thing.
Yeah.
Never trust your friends for shirts or Amazon reviews or anything. No one wants to help you. And so that was a bust. And I kind of took that as an L for a little while before I ever started anything else. But through that path, I was trying to get to first shift at the Walmart distribution center. That was like the holy grail of the building. If you finally could get to first shift, if you had enough tenure, you had made it. You're working 410s.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that first day I walked in and I looked around and just everyone looked dead inside. And I was like, oh my God, I'm 29. I've made it to first shift. Maybe I'll become a coach because we're all a team there, right? Give me a W. And then I just knew something had to change. I took a note. I took a bathroom break. I took a note. Still, I have it up on my website. It was just like, I got to get out of here. I got to formulate a plan. I've got to move on. And so that kind of like led me into seeing what was out there. And I didn't really know. I would go to garage sales and flip stuff on eBay. I'd heard the term drop shipping, and I was like, okay, I'm kind of doing that, I guess, on clearance aisles. And I had heard people listing stuff from Walmart.com on Amazon and marking it up. And none of that stuff really seemed scalable until I bumped into high-ticket dropshipping, which was, the best example is Wayfair. They started as hundreds of different high-ticket dropshipping businesses. They combined into Wayfair, and it's just selling products that you've already heard of from brands that are $800 plus or even higher. And so when I stumbled into that and realized I could build a real business that was an asset that I could sell for a multiple, that really piqued my interest, and that's where I got started.
Thank you for sharing that. Definitely an inspiring journey to start. I think we're off to a terrific beginning here on That Entrepreneur Show. We're bringing in Ben. Like many times, we've been trying to go back and forth, nail down a date. We are here finally live recording to start out this new season. He's accomplished a lot, and he's obviously got a passion for giving back through his dropshipping experiences. He's going to do all that and more. But before we talk more about dropshipping, I want to ask you, what is your greatest lesson learned throughout entrepreneurship?
Honestly, I'd probably bring it back to self-development. I think you're going to grow as a human more than you ever have through entrepreneurship. Like there's no one there to protect you. There's nothing to fall back on. Everything's on you. And so when everything's on you, your bullshit's going to boil up to the top.
Absolutely.
Your I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not worthy. Your self-sabotage to keep yourself protected from rising to where you should be is going to boil up. And that's been the biggest lesson for me, is like all the stuff that I had to deal with, from, trauma in my childhood to just not believing in myself and being told I shouldn't believe in myself. Working through all that has been easily the most amazing thing in entrepreneurship that you can't avoid. There's no way to avoid that. You either face that or you're going to lose in this game.
Yes, blocking out the voices, and it's just through dealing with it head on. And something else you resonated with, the support from your inner circle, buying things, reviews. I learned that too, and I wasn't the happiest at first, but I just accepted it as they're not my ideal customer. All of these things, a lot of your friends will help you for free, but as far as buying something, they may not. The reviews, everyone listening on, if you know someone who has a product or service or even a book, like for me, for example, if you've read that book, you enjoyed that product, leave a review, because that's the best form of marketing for us. They go to that page, they're going to run through the page, quick, swipe. They see a couple good looks, they're going to maybe take a chance on that product. Thank you very much for including that to start us off now on the show. I want to drop back to dropshipping now. Let's talk all things about your business. Let the world know what you're up to.
Yeah, right now, John, he's my business partner, and I are trying to build Dropship Breakthrough. E-commerce changed my life, and he changed his life. We've done some amazing things. And why hold that knowledge in when we can go help other people change their lives? I could still be working at that Walmart distribution center wanting to blow my brains out, or I could be here today. And like now it's on me to share what I've learned with the world. And hopefully there's that one Ben listening right now who's like, yeah, that was me when I was a kid, or that's me right now. And if I can just change their life, then I'm doing the right thing.
Yep, that's how I feel as well. Every time I go speak to a school or a hospital group, if I can get through to one person who really took something away, it's all worth it. And that's another great example there. He says he's much more comfortable being an entrepreneur, that he feels that's more him. For some people, they need that structure, go cash the paycheck in the operations center, and that's okay. But for some people, and most of the people listening on to this show, we're meant to be entrepreneurs. We're meant to fail, get knocked down, get back up again. And hopefully our learning lessons can help you just a bit more on your way. We've heard a lot so far. We've heard about drop shipping, but before we head into this week's spotlight story that looks into all things drop shipping, I'm going to ask our guest, what are two of the most challenging parts of entrepreneurship for you? Let's help out our audience through those tough times.
Yeah, I think early on it would be just getting back up. Like, you're going to fail. You're 100% going to fail. Mm-hmm. And getting back up and continuing to keep trying is difficult. Like, so early on in this journey, I had some stepkids that were just like learning to ride a bike, and I watching them try, fall off, cry for a while, say they're not going to do it again, and go again, and I'd have to build them up to get back on that bike. It just gave me such insight into myself that like we're all still that kid. We're all still don't want to fail. We definitely don't want to fail in front of somebody that we care about. But if you can learn how to realize that you're going to get a lot of information every time you fail, so that the journey continues to get easier, and like you're going to fail every day. We all fail every day. I think that was one of the most challenging parts in the beginning, was just realizing I'm going to fail. And I think a lot of it, again, I would take it back to mindset. I know when I first started, I was too scared to call the suppliers to become a retailer for them. I was too, like, it felt like I remember when I was in like third grade, I'm in the laundry room of my house. I'm about to call Sarah Peavy to ask her to be my girlfriend. I'm pacing back and forth. I finally dial. She says no, by the way. And that feeling was still there, like as I'm going to call suppliers at 30 years old. And there was just a lot of self-doubt there. So easily, yeah, the most challenging parts for me is like accepting failure and then beating the voice between my ears.
And that's it too, where once, or at least for me, I started looking at these quote unquote failures as learning experiences, and you start taking away where, okay, I didn't do this well. The next time I do it, I'm going to put this in. And then maybe if I have another takeaway, then all of a sudden you're running smooth. Everything, I mean, it makes me cringe almost when you go back to like my first podcast, my second podcast, and I'm just like, I sounded so structured because I put so much pressure on myself. I'm reading the script like a monotone voice, and there's no enthusiasm and, banter with my guests. But the bar to that, the moral of that story is, is if you don't start, you can't improve. If you don't just get off the ground, you'll never grow. Look at our guest today, a perfect example of that. Scaled extremely, extremely quick. And then he also helped another company hit $250,000 in sales. So that's why you should be excited for his take on this week's Spotlight story. As I mentioned, since we have this dropshipping expert with us right now, we're going to go over some of the article titled 6 Tips for How to Be a Successful Dropshipper. Here we go. Dropshipping isn't dead, the article starts. The opposite is true. The 44% rise in e-commerce sales in 2020 indicate we're entering a golden age for e-commerce entrepreneurs. And I think convenience plays a huge role into this e-commerce thing. But using the dropshipping model isn't easy. Most people think you just add products to your online store and customers come to buy. And I think this is exactly what we have today's guest here for to discuss. Dropshipping without a plan can make you feel invisible. You feel like you're shouting into an empty room where nobody is listening. Every dropshipper, big or small, knows the feeling. And now we're going to hop into some of these. What's the average dropshipping success rate? Top dropshippers around the world estimate between 10 and 20% of dropshipping businesses succeed. That's to translate that's 80 or 90% of dropshipping businesses fail. Yet success is only defined by the owner, which is you. If success to you means making $1 million per year with your dropshipping store, then it may take you a long time to be quote unquote successful. If your idea is breaking 6 figures, many dropshippers are breaking 6 figures a year. You just need to find good dropshipping suppliers and build a brand. Okay, now I'm going to share a case study from the article from Says Hing Shan, 19,000 in profit over 2 months. And this state case study comes from Malaysian entrepreneur who ran the Shopify dropshipping store, Subtle Asian Treats. It's the go-to store for bubble tea, plush toys, and other hand-picked cute merchandise. Started during COVID pandemic, like we said, 2020. He made $19,000 in profit in just 2 months of dropshipping bubble tea plush toys. But he didn't go straight from dropshipping to making bank. There are many failures and lessons along the way. He started selling phone cases, moved to kitchenware, then martial arts products, then finding his most profitable plush toys idea. Everyone out there, that's 4 cases of trial and error. And then before I bring back on today's guest, I'll touch on one more where it says lessons learned. Choose a trending drop shipping niche. Create a professional store and interact with customers. I'm going to highlight interact with customers. This entrepreneur also is transparent in the buying process with customers. His product pages include shipping times and origins of the products, so customers had the right expectations. I think a lot of business owners listening on can agree setting expectations is such a big key to everything. He also took time to engage with followers on Facebook and Instagram, building relationships with people and influencers, something I try to do too. He kept his support response times low, so customers never felt like they were dealing with a scam. I love that. Ben, let's hear that expertise.
Yeah, look, so first off, dropshipping gets a bad rap. If you're still listening to this and you're interested, thank God you're still here, because there are so many gurus, and I'm heavily quoting here, standing next to their rented Lambo telling you how they just did this. Look, I can just read these headlines. Imagine me standing next to my Lambo. Dude, I made $19,000 in 2 months. You can do it too. Sign up here, right? $2 million in just over 1 year, finding the next top product. To me, this is like the most bullshit kind of dropshipping there is. So he had to set those expectations because he's dropshipping from China, where it's going to show up 40 days later in a heavily taped box and it's going to be a piece of shit product. That's the truth. You know it. I know it. You see those ads on TikTok and Facebook. It's garbage. And I wouldn't recommend it. So I'm sure there's some good things in this article, but right away it turns me off immediately because it's just like the AliExpress method of dropshipping, the low ticket dropshipping is garbage. And I'm happy to explain the difference between high ticket and low ticket so you understand. So here's what I would do. I would tell you to sell high quality products from brands you already know. So I've been part of the 3dprinterguy.com, pelletgrillpros.com, standingdestination.com, shoptinyhouses.com, selling all products from brands you know that are in the USA that people are already searching for. So we're doing demand capture versus demand generation. You saw in that article, this guy wants you to interact with the people who interacted with you on social media ads. I'm not interrupting you looking at grandma's dinner or what your friends did at the bar last weekend to say, hey, check out my standing desk, and hopefully get you to buy a standing desk. You're already interested in this. You've already done some research. You might have even found the brand, and I can simply step in front of you with Google shopping ads and say, I carry that brand. Same way Wayfair is doing it. And so you can do this too in your own niche. Another thing I really hated from that article was like product, 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 product. And the reality is, every time, like we tend to focus on numbers, like 100 people came to our site, I hope I get a 2% conversion rate. What about those other 98 numbers on your screen? Those are people. They're raising their hand and saying, I'm interested in what you have to sell, and you're not serving them. So John and I like to teach, focus on the who is the person behind all of these products, and sell to that person and give everything away. Give them everything you got, whether they give you their credit card or not, and likely they're going to give you their credit card and buy from you because you gave them so much value. So just comparing the two, if you want to make $30,000 in revenue and you're selling a $30 product like these plush toys, you're going to need to sell 1,000 products. Now, if you're selling something that's $3,000, which is just as easy to sell, believe it or not, you only need to sell 10. So let's talk about 1,000 orders versus 10. How many employees do you need for 1,000 orders versus 10? How many damages and returns are you going to have with 1,000 orders versus 10? How much overhead are you going to have with 1,000 orders versus 10? And the best part is you can start all of this for less than $500. Please tell me to shut up if you want to. Like I think this business model is the greatest, the easiest way to start in e-commerce because there's such little risk, right? So he's giving me the go ahead. I'm going to dive right in, right? So you can start for less than $500 in 30 days or less, no question. So if you look at like, I'm sure some people have looked into starting a franchise. That's going to be hundreds of thousands of dollars. And you're going to have to meet specs, and you're kind of a semi-entrepreneur when you're a franchise owner. If you wanted to launch your own brand, which I'm sure some people listening here have, as have I, I'm the owner of Paramount Pet Health, as he said, you're going to have to do research, get samples, place a big dollar order, launch and hope, and then, really hope that you can create that demand for your product. And the big thing here is cash flow is king. Like if I order 1,000 of these and I sell 500, I'm on pace. I'm going to have to buy more. I'm going to take all my profit. I'm going to buy more. And then I'm going to take all my profit and buy more. And on paper, I look rich, but you have $0 in your bank account, and it is brutal. It's a brutal way to grow a business, and it's not fun, if I'm honest with you. I do both.
Liquidity, no liquidity.
Yeah, I do also. I'm pretty sure I feel confident talking about that. But let's talk dropshipping, right? So if you're going to start for less than $500, you're going to need a domain. That's going to be $12 at Namecheap or GoDaddy or wherever you buy them. You're going to need Shopify. That's $29 a month. You likely might want to get a paid theme. I don't think you need one, but if you do, it's $180 to $400. Quick plug: if you join our course, we give you Superstore for free. That's our favorite theme by far from Out of the Sandbox.
Yes. All right. Well, plug yourself then real quick while you're talking about this. Give yourself a plug. Where can they get that at?
Yeah, dropshipbreakthrough.com is where our course is housed. Dropship podcast, we just passed 100,000 listens in less than a year. I'm pretty proud of that. So we give away the whole model, just like you're hearing here. Dropshippodcast.com or on your favorite player. All right, so you're going to need Google Workspace. You don't want to have Ben's dropshipping store at Gmail when you're responding to customers. That's not going to look professional. So you want Google Workspace. That's $12 a month. You'll get your Ben at the domain.com that you just bought. You're also going to want an 800 phone numbers because you're going to want to answer phone calls. When people buy these high-ticket products, oftentimes they call just to make sure you're real, and then you can close the order over the phone. I recommend Grasshopper. Again, that's going to be about $40 a month. You're probably going to want some branding done, a logo or some homepage images or things on your site, whatever, $25, $50, something like that. And then at the end, you're going to run Google ads. Again, we're not running social media ads. We're running Google ads. And when you first start running Google ads, they will give you one of two coupons. Either spend $150, get $150, or spend $500, get $500.
Okay.
And you should, if you follow everything we teach or everything we put out for free online, you should get your first sale or multiple sales within that $1,000 that you're spending $500, getting $500, and then you can take some of that profit and roll it in and run some more ads and build that snowball of building your business. The biggest expense you're going to have is your time. Like, you're going to have to invest your time into this. You're going to have to do work. I don't think it's that much work. Like, I think if you just did 2 hours a day, that's more than anyone else is doing. I promise you that. It's probably more than you're doing at your day job. Just like 2 hours of real focused work every single day, and you're going to be in a completely different place in 30 days.
I love that. Thank you for diving in and providing so much value to everyone tuning in. Whether you were new to dropshipping or you were already in dropshipping, I'm sure you just learned something new from our guest, Ben. And now here we go. Let's help our audience even more. If you could choose one book, workshop, tool, any resource to help our community of entrepreneurs, what is it going to be?
I sat and thought about this a lot. I'm not a really big book guy. I have a problem like sitting down and focusing on it, but there is one that like clicked with me in the beginning. Two of them actually, and they're very short and there's not much to them. One is called The Slight Edge, and that's simply like the compounding effect, what I just talked about. If you can simply do the one thing every single day to move your business forward, you're going to be in a completely different universe than the person who's not doing that just
Right.
30 days from now, let alone a year from now or 2 years from now. And the other is a very short book by Stephen Pressfield that is an excerpt from The War of Art. It's called Do the Work. And it's pretty much what the title says. Go do the work, like ship. Just stop overthinking everything. Stop thinking your store needs to be perfect. Stop thinking the ads need to be perfect. Just go fail. Go fall on your face. Go do the work, and you're going to learn a lot along the way.
I love that. Well, thank you for providing that. If it's not books, that's your jam. Maybe what's one app that you can recommend, or even anything drop shipping world, something you could succeed? You mentioned Shopify, you mentioned Grasshopper. Is there anything else out there that really helps your success?
Yeah, look, I'm a SEO guy. I see everything through a keyword lens. So I would tell you if you're talking in a Shopify app, there's one called JSON LD. It's about $300. Every single Shopify store owner on the planet should have this app. And if you don't know what schema markup is, just go to Google. It's all of those extra things that pop out: the review stars, the price, the map packs, everything else that could pop out. It one-time payment of $2.99 and you'll have this forever. It's constantly updated. It's a fantastic app. That's probably where I would point people. Or honestly, look, I'm not afraid to say John and I give literally everything away. Like, go check out our Dropship podcast and start from the beginning. You're going to learn this entire business model. If you want someone to hold your hand, come join us in the course. But I think you can get started just listening to the free stuff that John and I continue to pump out week after week.
I appreciate the kind offer. Everyone listening on, I'm going to have Ben email me all the links for this show and put it in the show description. So everything is right there. And make sure you give Ben a follow too to see what they're doing on social media. But before we get to all that social media talk, you know what time it is if you're a loyal listener. If you could choose to have a conversation, Ben, and learn from any entrepreneur throughout history, dead or alive, who's it going to be?
For me, I try to look at this less as like learning from them, and just like if I could be around Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos or any of the big entrepreneurs that have accomplished a lot, and just see how they think, because that's really all it is. Elon's no different than you and I. He's a little weirder than you and I for sure, but like, he thinks differently than you and I. He doesn't have the limitations, or if he does have the limitations, he goes around them in a way that I don't.
Right.
And so I'd want to know how he thinks. So I'd probably sit down with Elon personally and just kind of, honestly, I don't even know if I'd want to sit down and eat with him. I'd just like, can I just follow him around for like a week? I bet you'd learn a lot just from the actions he takes.
I love it. There's no wrong answer with Elon. There's definitely something to, just get inside his head one way or the other. But I want to thank you so much, Ben, coming on. It's been an incredible show. You taught me so much, and everyone listening on, I know the same was for you. Please re-share your social media, website, anything, draw your podcast links, everything.
Yeah, for sure. If you're listening to this or you're on YouTube, check out Dropship Podcast. We're on both. Dropship Breakthrough, and it's spelled funny, THRU.com is where our website is. I do have the BK show. I haven't done it in like a year. I had a kid and I wanted to spend time with him. I might get back to that. And that's just kind of sharing. I've met so many interesting people who do the weirdest stuff and they're happy. And it doesn't matter what they make. They're truly happy being an entrepreneur, and I wanted to share that. So hopefully the BK show will come back. But for now, yeah, check out Dropship Podcast, Dropship Breakthrough, and if your dog or cat is limping, head to ParamountPetHealth.com. We can take care of you.
I love it. I'll be sure to have to become a guest on your show when you get that show back on. We can have 100%. A lot of fun there. And thanks again for tuning in, everyone. I am at Vincent A. Lancy on YouTube, all social media, and my website is vincentalancy.com. Be sure to go check out Ben's great content and learn a lot about his dropshipping experiences through his podcast. He said that's a starting A to Z podcast. You can learn from the beginning. Go check it out. And until next Friday, we will see you all back on That Entrepreneur Show. Ben, see you soon.
Thanks for having me.